Hello, everyone. This is Thomas Pepin, NHL Talk. I'm Thomas Pepin, and let's talk about the NHL. So, today we will be talking about the storylines and such at the 10% mark this season. Just bear with me 1 second here. Okay, good. And yeah, so we're going to talk about what's happened up to this point, and that includes current stat leaders and surprises, major transactions, major injuries, team standings and storylines. And then I'm going to go over some playoff likelihood statistics. So we'll start with current stat leaders and surprises. So, you know what? I think I'll go by not raw stats, but rather average stats. So, because some players have played 11 games, some players have played 7 games, it's going to be misleading for stats for players. So, for example, um, somebody could have 17 points in 17 games, whereas somebody could have 17 points in 8 games, which is a big difference. So, on a point per game basis, and we'll consider everybody 7 games or more since all teams have played. I believe it was 7 games or more. Just give me a second to double check that. I don't think I saw any 6s. No. So everybody's played at least 7 games. So, um, all right. So point per game, not surprising. It's Connor McDavid. He's got 18 points in 9 games. How far should I go down? We'll go down to a point and a half. So that turns out being the top 7. So Pasternak has 1.8, or it's the top 6. Sorry, because one person has 2 games. Yeah, Pasternak has 1.89 points per game. That is 17 points in 9 games. Draisaitl has 1.78 points per game, 16 points in 9 games. Nichushkin, I think is how it's pronounced, 1.71, 12 points in 7 games. Jesper Bratt with New Jersey, who I guess maybe could be a surprise. 1.63, 13 points in 8 games. And then last one we'll touch on is Matt Zuccarello, 1.5, 12 points in 8 games. So those are the top 6, because I excluded Marchand, who only played 1 game, and Ehlers, who played 2 games. So that's that. Now, give me a moment. I just want to see if I can get this stat. Okay, yeah, so I can. So I'll also go over goals per game. Since again we're not going with raw numbers, it's better to do averages. So the leader in goals per game is once again McDavid, 1 goal per game. Currently at 9 goals. Nichushkin, 1 goal per game, 7 goals. Svechnikov, yeah, Svechnikov in Carolina, 0.88. Sometimes the pronunciations just don't come out right. Gensel, 0.85 goals, 4 goals. Sorry, actually, I shouldn't have mentioned him because he's played less games. But anyways, Caulfield, Caulfield, yeah, Cole Caulfield. 0.78 goals per game. That's 7 goals. Pasternak, 0.78, 7 goals. Stamkos, 0.78, 7 goals. Shane Pinto in Ottawa, a surprise there, 0.75, 6 goals. Brady Tkachuk, another one, 0.75, 6 goals. Kaprizov, 0.75, 6 goals. Olafson, another surprise there. He is a forward. So, yeah, 0.75, 6 goals. Alex Tuck, 0.75, 6 goals. And Shifley, 0.75, 6 goals as well. So, those are the top 13. And I shouldn't have mentioned Gensel because he's played less games, but whatever. So those are your statistical leaders in what I would say is more relevant, which is, like I said, averages on points per game or in goals per game. Next up, we will actually, while we're on the subject of goals, another surprise, Rasmus Dahlin, I believe it was the first 5 games, 5 goals straight, which it was a record, again, if I'm not mistaken, for goals, consecutive games with a goal to open a season for a defenseman, I believe is the record. Yeah, and then, you know what, we'll go back. I'll just scan through, see if there's any other yeah, I'm just having a look to see if there's any other players that stand out that are maybe performing better than they usually would. So just bear with me a moment to scan through here. Yeah, we'll stop there. So let's see. There's Martin Necas. He is usually about half a point per game. He currently stands at 11 points in 8 games. He's with Carolina. So that's noticeably different. And I should say I scanned through because I'm relatively familiar with some of these players' stats. I mean, I might have missed somebody. So, for example, I didn't know for sure Braden Shen's average points per game, but it seemed ballpark what he would normally get. Yeah, and so I won't pull up everybody and have a look. So I'll just touch on the ones that I think are most likely to be different than average. He's played too few games to comment. Kevin Hayes, he has 10 points in 8 games. Philly's been on a good run. So that, and he's usually under a point per game, approximately half a point per game. So to be over a point per game at this point is quite good. Brandon Montour, I believe, would not be on this pace. Yeah, so 8 points in 7 games, usually a 37-point 37-point defenseman last year, probably around a 30-point defenseman. So to be over a point per game, again, kind of stands out. Another defenseman. Whoa, the lettering on on the Arizona Coyotes website is horrendous. It's so difficult to read the name. But anyways, thankfully, it's in the header. So Shane Gostisbehere, I believe is how it's pronounced. He is at 8 points in 7 games. He's a pretty high production defenseman, still under a point per game, but that's definitely above average. This guy, I think. Nah, it's only slightly above. So I was going to comment on Batherson in Ottawa, but it's only a bit above what he would normally have. Yeah, and then as I mentioned, Jesper Bratt in New Jersey, it is slightly above his averages, but really, when things average out over more games, it probably will regress to the mean, I believe is the correct term. So, yeah, so I think those are the main standouts for players. I forgot I should also go to goalies. And we'll do save percentage because that's most relevant, in my opinion. What cutoff will we have? Let's do more than 4 games. I think that's probably most representative. Should be. Stuart Skinner playing quite well in Edmonton. I didn't know he had this good of a start. 4 games played, 2-1 record, so 2 wins, 1 loss, a 9.55 save percentage. Quite good. That's really impressive. So I know that Campbell hasn't had the greatest of starts. Where's he at? 0.888. 4 wins, 2 losses. But I mean, again, over the span of a season, these things will average out. So Stuart Skinner, great start. That's very good news for Edmonton. To have 2 goalies, hopefully that can keep on track. Now, because uh, I'm predicting Edmonton to win the Stanley Cup, I think they're gonna try to just outscore teams, kind of like the Gretzky Edmonton, and so they just need enough stops. So really, if Campbell, as long as Campbell gets wins, which he has 4-2 records, so so it's less relevant the save percentage, but all in any case, we're talking about just leaders here. So Jake Odinger, quite good, actually quite impressive. 0.952 through 7 games, 5 wins, 1 loss. Dallas has been doing quite well, so that's not surprising. Linus Ullmark in Boston, 9.45 save percentage, 6 wins, no losses. Impressive. Logan Thompson. So when I was going through, uh, what was it? I think it was when I was doing evaluating teams cap management, if I'm not mistaken. Um, I was wondering who the goalies were going to be for Vegas, and turns out I was right that Logan Thompson was going to play because he looked pretty good in his starts. Uh, I didn't see too much of it; it's just highlights here and there, but um, yeah. So I'm not surprised that that worked out that way. So 943 save percentage through 6 starts, 4 wins, 2 losses. Uh, Vegas desperately needs goaltending with Leonard out, so um, good news for them. uh, Huge story, Carter Hart, as I predicted, would do well. Now, still early. We'll see how it all shakes out, but 5 wins, 1 overtime loss through 6 games, a 938 save percentage. Very good. Probably I was going to say favorite goalie in the league, but the goalie that I'm most interested in is Elias Arokin. Because I have a very positive opinion of the Islanders. Uh, I've watched so much of their playoff hockey, and I've been really impressed with the way they play. And I'm surprised they missed the playoffs last year, and I have them making the finals. So, anyways, Sorokin, I've been very impressed with. He's been very clutch and stable in net. I've been very impressed. So, anyways, 933 save percentage, 3 wins, 3 losses, which I mean, the record's not the best, but Islanders' record isn't the best at the moment either. And that's through 6 games. Billy Huso, which I wasn't sure how he'd pan out in Detroit. Detroit's doing quite well so far. 3 wins, 1 loss, and 1 overtime loss in 5 games, 926 save percentage. Good for him. Connor Hellebuck doing well, 925, 4 wins, 2 losses in 6 games. And last one I'll touch on, Ilya Samsonov, 4 wins, 2 losses, a 920 save percentage through 6 games. So those are the leaders at the moment in goaltending, in my opinion, because I go by save percentage. Yeah, so I think that covers that part of what I wanted to discuss. Just give me one sec. Yeah, so we'll stop there for stat leaders and surprises, and we'll move on to where can I filter this better? Just give me a sec. As you can see, it's all on the spot. These streams don't really do more prep than knowing what I'm talking about generally. So, yeah, so bear with me as I navigate, as I talk, and all that. So, yeah, I'm on Cap Friendly, and I was hoping you could filter by cap hit, but you can't, as far as I can tell. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. So we'll go since ballpark the start of the year. No major trades really to note. Oh, I completely missed this trade. I didn't know Ethan Bear went over to Vancouver. So Ethan Bear, Lane Pedersen over to Vancouver for a 5th-round pick. And I think it's 400,000 was retained by Carolina in the trade. So that's of note. Ethan Bear had played quite well in Edmonton. Or that is my understanding, at least. I didn't see enough of him. So good to see that he got moved because he wasn't getting played in Carolina to start the year. And yeah, I think that's really it to touch on. There's not all the rest of the trades are kind of small deals. So that's kind of it for trades. And also, I'm learning about trades. I didn't notice that one. So that's that. I'll see if there's any waiver waiver deals that went on that were relevant. I mean, the Simmons in Toronto going through waivers was interesting. That was not a big story, but it was a story because it wasn't expected to happen. And now bear with me. Just gonna have a quick scan. Jordan Martinook, I believe he was he's an assistant captain, and he went through waivers. And I don't think, he cleared waivers, so that's surprising. In Carolina, that they did that. Anyone else here? So bear with me. So still, so far, nobody major to note. Oh yeah, Nick Foligno went through waivers and didn't get picked up. That's a pretty big deal. He has played so far, so 4 points in 9 games, so good for him. That's decent production. I think these ones are relevant too. Just bear with me a moment. Yeah, Mike Riley went through waivers. Boston again. He's played 7 games, 1 point. A defenseman, of course, so to keep in mind. Chris Wagner, another guy that went through, but he stayed in the minors, so he's with Providence, I believe it is, for Boston. Is this guy important? No. Not super familiar with everybody, obviously, so some of these guys, I just want to make sure that they're not better than I remember. Oh, I think he got picked up. Yeah, Connor Ingram got picked up by Arizona. Was with Nashville. Mark Jankowski was a first round pick. He got put through waivers, and then he wasn't picked up, which seems surprising. What was he making? Nothing really. Why did nobody pick him up? Seems weird. Yeah, he cleared waivers. So another guy, I mean sometimes it's makes you wonder. Yeah, I think this guy got picked up. Jared Tenorti was waived by the Rangers, and then he's with Chicago now. I think that means he was claimed. Where is it here? Yeah, claimed. Isn't this guy good? Will Butcher. I thought he was relatively high performing. What happened to him? He got waived. He's playing with the Texas Stars, so wasn't claimed. No. Yeah, Jansen Harkins in Winnipeg was supposed to turn out playing a relatively important role, cleared waivers. I forget if Philippe Myers. Yeah, he went through waivers too, and nobody picked him up. And I think that's it, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, Kiefer Bellows. I forgot about him. So Kiefer Bellows went to waivers and got claimed by the Flyers. He was with the Islanders. Oh, and this one's new too. Okay, so give me a sec here. Just to double check about a couple names I pulled up here. No, so none of them are that important. So Riley Sheehan, he just got put on waivers today. How much is he getting paid? 950,000. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets claimed. Former first round pick with Buffalo. So we'll see how that pans out. And he was signed in August. So given that nobody else signed him, maybe he doesn't get picked up, but he's inexpensive. And he was only signed to 1 year. So maybe if there's a team that needs an extra body because of injuries, they might pick him up. So we'll see with that. So that's it for waivers. And we'll stop that there. Next, we'll move on to major injuries. Give me a sec to pull that up. Oh, this doesn't say when they're out till. There we go. This is better. Peter Mrazek in Chicago, expected to be out November 1st. You know what? We'll consider people like a month away and more. So Seth Jones, thumb injury, out until November 27. James Van Riemsdyk, finger injury, out till December 11. Sean Couturier, back in, I think it was back surgery, if I'm not mistaken. February 6th is his expected return. Josh Norris, shoulder injury, out till February 11. Robbie Fabry, knee injury, out till January 4. Anthony Duclair, Achilles injury, out till December 1. Landeskog, knee injury, I think it was knee surgery, out till January 12. So that's going to be a major impact on Colorado. What else do we have? Nick Schmaltz in Arizona, out till December 1. Mike Matheson, Montreal, out till December 6. Max Pacioretty, Achilles injury, out till February 11. They're missing a lot of goals out of him in Carolina, that's for sure. I can't recall if this guy's important. Just give me a sec to look. Nope, we'll skip him. Charlie McAvoy, shoulder injury, out till December 1. Nicholas Backstrom in Washington, out till January 1. Tom Wilson, knee injury, out till December 7. Marco Scandella, hip injury, out till March 21. And that's... Oh. Actually, we'll go back further just because there's a few important ones. So Chris Drieger, I think it is. Goalie for Seattle, knee injury out till February 7. Ryan Ellis back injury out till July 19, so I think expected to miss the full season. And that's it. So those are the major injuries. Next, we'll move to team standings and storylines there that I'll touch on. Just give me a sec to get to the right format. So New Jersey doing quite well. And actually, you know what? We'll contrast it with my predictions here. So a moment to get that pulled up. So New Jersey, I forget if so I can't recall what I said in my predictions at the beginning of the year, but it's not inconceivable for the Devils to make the playoffs. I think I said that. Now, because the division's tough, it's unlikely. But basically, so I have the Rangers and Hurricanes as potentially being out. Now, everybody gets a chunk of predictions wrong every year. For me, what was it last year? I think I got what was it? 12 of 16 right or something like that. I can't recall for sure, but anyways, so you're always going to get it a few wrong because there's teams that can have a great year and teams that can have injuries and all sorts of problems they could have and positive things that happen. Who knows? So, anyways, Devils could potentially stay in a playoff spot. We'll see. Flyers, same story. The only team in the Metropolitan that I don't think can make the playoffs is the Blue Jackets. So, and then Carolina's third currently in the division. So that's the top three for Metropolitan. Atlantic, we've got Boston on the top. I had them, or sorry, I should go back. So I had Penguins, Capitals, Islanders, Rangers, Hurricanes all making the playoffs. Currently, Penguins, Capitals, Islanders, Rangers. So 4 of my 5 are not. Or sorry, Islanders are in a wild card. But so what is that then? 1, 2, 3 of my 5 are not in a playoff spot at the moment. But it's a long season. Now moving to the wait. Is that so sorry, so technically Washington is tied for the last wild card spot. I don't know what the tiebreakers are if it goes to goals at any point, but same record as the Islanders. So maybe I'm not as far off as it originally seemed, but yeah. And then so Atlantic, I have Panthers, Lightning, Bruins making the playoffs, the rest missing. Currently, Boston's in. I got 1. Florida's in. Got 2. Buffalo, God knows how they're in a spot, but again, early season, I have them having no chance of making the playoffs. Detroit, I think could make the playoffs. They're in the first wild card spot. So, in my opinion, Leafs, Red Wings, and maybe Senators have a shot of making the playoffs. Senators is my cutoff point of with any chance of making the playoffs. I don't think Montreal or Sabres can. So the other one to note is Tampa is tied again with the Islanders for the last sorry, Tampa and Montreal are tied for the last wild card spot up with Islanders, Washington. So I'm not crazy far off, but not quite on there. And so we've got clearly some teams that probably will drop out, like Buffalo. I can't see them staying there. New Jersey, Philly, maybe. We'll see. Carolina definitely can make the playoffs. Detroit could make the playoffs. Boston, Florida, I think they're locks. Islanders, I think they will. And then Washington, Tampa should. Maybe a couple surprises. Toronto's down in 8th wildcard spot. 4 wins, 4 losses, 1 overtime loss. But I have them missing the playoffs. And so far, my prediction's looking good there. But we'll see. I mean, not that I should be happy for Toronto doing poorly, but whatever. Pittsburgh's out, Rangers are out at the moment, and I thought both would be up there. But we'll see. All right, over to the West. Central Division, we have my predictions were Avalanche 1, Blues 2, Predators 3, Stars 4. Currently, it is Dallas 1, Winnipeg 2, Chicago 3. So Chicago, I don't have them having any chance of making the playoffs. I think they'll drop out. Winnipeg, I have on the bubble, interchangeable with Dallas. So they could conceivably stay in. Dallas, I have on the bubble. So they should have a shot of staying in. And then Pacific, we have my predictions are Oilers, Canucks, Flames, Knights all making it. Currently, it's Knights, Edmonton, Calgary. So 3 of my 4 are in at the moment. Wild card spots, we've got Seattle and LA. And Colorado is tied. No, sorry, not tied. Tied on a points percentage basis. My mistake there. They're just out. So Seattle, I don't think has any chance of making the playoffs. The Kings do. I think the Kings and Knights are kind of interchangeable. I think the Flames are a slight step above. Maybe some surprises of the ones currently out. I had Vancouver. I was predicting them second, and they had that really, really slow start, but they've kind of turned it up the past couple games. So we'll see what happens there. St. Louis, I had second in the Central. They're out right now. Nashville, I had third. They're out. Colorado, I had first, and they're also out. Colorado, I'm not surprised actually that they are struggling. I had them to struggle out of the gate. partially because of goaltending, which on that note, let's have a look at what the goalie stats are. So sometimes you wonder what coaches are doing here. So Georgiev has 6 games played, 4 wins, 1 loss, 918 save percentage. But why would they play Francouz? Played 3 games, 3 losses, .898. Just doesn't make sense to me. So I think that's poor coaching, team management, whatever you want to call it, roster management, strategy. So in any case, Georgiev is doing better than I thought he would, but Colorado is doing as poorly as I was expecting. So I had a feeling there'd be a dip. I think it's going to take a little while for them to kick back into things, especially with Landeskog out. And when I went over my predictions for my first stream, I think it was my first stream. Yeah, I showed how much Colorado lost, like from losing Kadri and a few other people, and yeah, they're not. I still think they're going to finish at the top of the Central because I think the Central is pretty weak. But yeah, I had them having a tough time. It's not going to be as easy for them, and I don't think they're going to be quite competitive enough to win a Stanley Cup. They could potentially, but I don't think they will. So I guess those are some storylines there. Some teams struggling, some surprises, but yeah, again, still early in the game. Now, the other thing I wanted to pull up, I don't think I have bookmarked, so just give me a second here to find it. I hope it's still up there. Where is it? I think I'm going to have to find the image, which I have saved somewhere. Is it? So, anyways, just as I'm looking for it, it's an article from Travis Yost of TSN, and he shows the likelihood of making the playoffs at different points in the season. And what I was going to kind of cover is just explain what it is, what it kind of means, and then see if it's really relevant at this point in time. So I just thought it would be way easier to find this again. No, that's not it. That might be it. Yes, it is. Okay. Now I must bookmark it so that I don't lose this again, because I am going to reference it again in future streams. So a second to bookmark here. Okay, so the article is called "The Reality of the NHL Playoff Race." And so this was from 2018. What he did in the article is, like I said, take a look at the likelihood of making the playoffs at different points in the season, uh, given a team's points per game pace at the time. So there's this image in there. It's pretty close to the top. That's the image I have saved. I have my own uh, data that I've put together where I break things down in a way that I prefer. But this gave me the idea to do that because, like I've said previously, I've been betting on who will win the Stanley Cup every year, and I've gotten, well, I've made, I was going to say I've gotten it right, but technically that's not entirely true. I've made bets where I win uh, more than I've spent when I'm betting on who will win the Stanley Cup. So, and I've done that since what is it? When did St. Louis win? St. Louis won in 2019. So for the past 4 years, I've made money, and I've only been doing it for 4 years on my predictions. So, but anyways, so I consider this when I'm thinking about canceling a bet and cutting, excuse me, cutting my losses and um, things along those lines. So, um, yeah, so in his data, it only starts at the 20 game point. What I've noticed is, I'll pull up mine for reference. I believe it's 15 games is where I start to see things kind of show where they're going. Yeah, so 15 games is where I think we start to see trends in who's going to make the playoffs versus who doesn't. And so, as an example, my data goes back to 2013-14. So 2013-14 up to 2018-19. So just before the COVID stuff. There were, again, just an example, 3 teams who had between 9 to 12 points uh, at the 15 game mark who made the playoffs. So that's just kind of an idea of like, so what I have is different ranges of points to categorize kind of far-fetched versus being at a good point in play or in points, and being very good where they're at in points. And so it kind of gives me an idea of how I think they're going to pan out. So, but that article will give you, if you're into sports betting and stuff, or just interested in how likely it is that your team will come back and make the playoffs if they had a bad start. that article will be good enough to give you an idea. Um, so in this case, for example, we take a look at Vancouver. So they're only 9 games in, and where I started to see trends where it was at 15 games. And so Vancouver has, according to that, 6 games to accumulate. How many points do they have? 6 points at the moment. So they have 6 games to accumulate 3 points to still be within the realm of normal of eventually making the playoffs. So everybody was going crazy about Vancouver's poor start. And for me, it was like, I mean, clearly it's not good, but I mean, it's really a team can come back. It's not a problem. And so let's give a couple examples of where is that here? So between 9 and 12. So Philadelphia in 2013 did make the playoffs and they had a horrible start. The Give me a second, I'm trying to find another example. Calgary 2016-17. They had a bad start. They made the playoffs. And where is the other one here? There's one more. Where did I miss it? Oh, Columbus 2013. Horrible start, made the playoffs. So that's the thing is it's not. So those are 3 examples. Now they're in the like way low likelihood of making the playoffs because there's so few that actually did turn out doing it after starting off so poorly. But never throw a team under the bus too early, especially before 15 games. 15 games, maybe start to, maybe something has to give. Maybe they have to make a trade, get rid of a coach, do something. But up until 15 games, uh, as long as you have the possibility of being within range of making playoffs, just give it time. Obviously, try to find ways to improve your team's performance, but don't do anything too drastic too quick. So anyways, so just wanted to give you guys that kind of information because it's important when you're. So for example, if I have money on Vancouver potentially winning the cup, am I concerned at this point? No. Uh, is it something I'm super excited about that they're losing? No, obviously not because I have money on them. Um, but I mean, don't worry until you have good reason to worry is the thing. So we'll see what pans out with Vancouver, but I'm not overly worried. So I think that covers everything I wanted to cover for today. So turned out being longer than I was expecting of a stream, but shorter than my normal streams that I've had as of late doing the uh, um evaluating teams cap management. So nice for a change to only spend an hour as opposed to up to 2 sometimes. So hope you enjoyed the update. And if you did, hit the like button, share with your friends, subscribe, turn on notifications to be advised of my next stream. So sometimes, so for example, today, uh, I didn't set up the stream until a half an hour before the stream. You can still expect me to be 5 p.m. Eastern until the time change, and then it should be 4 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, if you have on notifications, you'll get advised of things as they come up. But so that'll help. Then finally, if you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments. Any feedback, I'd be happy to hear. Subjects of future streams, that would be great, because then I can give you guys things to watch, so that are interesting to you. So last, I will add a link to that article into the description there if you are interested in taking a look, because that might be of interest to you. So anyways, that covers everything. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you again tomorrow.